Set in a remote hotel in Ireland, Hokum follows Owen Bauman, a best-selling author struggling to write the ending of his hit trilogy. He travels abroad to this hotel where his parents spent their honeymoon to spread their ashes on a redwood tree captured in a photo of his mother from those days. Owen is kind of a mess. He's rude and deeply troubled. It's revealed by Owen that his mother was shot and killed years ago, only for us to later find out that she died in an accident caused by Owen himself when he was a child. As a result of this accident, his father fell into alcoholic grief, which in turn made Owen's life miserable. It is why he scatters his mother's ashes with care and discards his father like it was an obligation. As previously mentioned, Owen comes off as abrasive from the very beginning. He refuses to sign a book. He burns the bellboy with a hot spoon. He's instantly judgmental of everyone he meets. Yet in my opinion, there is something about him that is redeemable, or at least needs to be brought to light. This part of the plot develops in the first minutes of the film, as Owen needs to fall into the real plot. The hotel is haunted by a witch who resides in the locked-off honeymoon suite. There are a few quirky personalities in this hotel, including always nervous desk clerk and manager Mal, a somewhat star-crossed bellboy named Albie, bartender Fiona, and everyone's favorite local man Jerry, who lives in a van in the forest. Bartender Fiona goes missing after the Halloween party. Fiona literally saved Owen's life, therefore he feels he needs to find out what happened to her, even as the staff of the hotel seem to have given up. Hokum was written and directed by Damien McCarthy, who takes a premise that could be quickly dismissed: a haunted hotel, folklore creatures, and the usual jump scares. But Hokum's folk horror makes for a great atmosphere. The premise of a haunted hotel is familiar yet effective. Although I could do without those piercing jump scare sound effects, the jump scares are effective, well timed, and so are the jokes that surprise you and take the edge off at just the right time. These jokes come mostly from Jerry, who is the type of character you can't help but root for, and his grounded sense of humor keeps the movie from taking itself too seriously. The film uses Irish folklore to build its identity, but stops short of actually doing anything meaningful with it. To its credit, Hokum avoids the tendency to over-explain its supernatural elements. The result is a film that floats somewhere between specificity and universality, never fully committing to either, which was honestly fine by me. Hokum rises above standard horror by taking its characters' trauma seriously. Owen is emotionally trapped long before his physical confinement begins, with the isolated setting serving as a direct manifestation of his unresolved guilt, grief, and paranoia. Ultimately, the true horror stems from the realization that escape is impossible when he is completely imprisoned by his own psychological trauma. The movie gives us information bit by bit, and it creates a tension between what is supernatural and what is psychological. The final devastating emotional reveal feels earned and is a much better payoff than a traditional horror twist. At its core, the film is about emotional displacement and an unresolved anger, all filtered through Owen's perspective. From the very beginning, he's cynical, abrasive, and often pushes people away. But as the story unfolds, we learn that this behavior isn't coming from nowhere. Buried beneath that hostility is a deep sense of shame connected to the accident that led to his mother's death. Instead of facing the trauma head-on, Owen projects it outward. But that anger isn't directed at the people around him. It's also turned inward. You can see it in his self-destructive habits, his alcoholism, and the way he seems determined to punish himself for something he can never move on from. As the film progresses, the supernatural elements begin to feel less like external threats and more like reflections of Owen's fractured state of mind. Whether they're meant to be taken literally or not almost doesn't matter. What matters is how they force him to confront memories he spent years trying to suppress, including the moment that changed his life forever. The deeper we get into his past, the clearer it becomes that his anger isn't rooted in cruelty or malice. It's rooted in an overwhelming self-loathing. That's what makes Owen a compelling character. His actions aren't always easy to defend, but it's hard not to feel some level of empathy for him when you consider the burden he's carrying. The guilt of accidentally causing your mother's death as a child is almost impossible to comprehend. One of the film's greatest strengths is its atmosphere. There's a constant sense of claustrophobia hanging over everything, and a lot of that comes from the cinematography. The story takes place in a remote hotel tucked away in the forest of West Cork, Ireland. The place feels aged, worn down, and slightly abandoned. At first glance, the hotel almost seems inviting, but the longer you spend there, the more unsettling it becomes. It starts to feel like the building itself is watching you. A huge part of that comes from the way the film uses light and shadow. Darkness doesn't just fill the frame, it feels alive. Lamps, flashlights, and small light sources create these isolated pockets of visibility surrounded by overwhelming darkness. The hotel itself becomes a character in its own right. The film carefully establishes its hallways, rooms, and hidden corners, making the location feel authentic and lived in. Every design choice adds to the sense that this is a real place with a dark history buried beneath its walls, which makes the horror all the more effective. Ultimately, the film accomplishes exactly what it set out to do. It creates this suffocating atmosphere of dread that lingers throughout the entire runtime and leaves us with the realization that some people are set free the moment they confront the truth about themselves.